The European Parliament is calling for stronger rules to protect press freedom and journalists. The so-called Media Freedom Act proposed last year by the European Commission aims to enforce greater transparency of media funding, the protection of outlets from political pressure, and the defence of journalists from spyware like Pegasus. MEPs say these steps are necessary to protect democracy in the EU, rejecting any attempts by member states to water down the measures.
Without media freedom, without media pluralism, without independence of public media, and without protecting journalists, there is no democracy worth the name. That is precisely we're making a point here. And we're also intending to get media freedom and media pluralism on board the rule of law, democracy, and fundamental rights framework, so that it makes sense that there will be rule of law conditionality also for those countries who do not respect media freedom and media pluralism.
The regression of media freedom in countries like Poland and Hungary over recent years has worried journalists and NGOs across the continent. Many blame the EU for not taking action soon enough to defend the sector. One Hungarian opposition MEP says that this Media Freedom Act comes too late, but that it could potentially correct some of the damages witnessed on the ground.
I believe that the European Media Freedom Act is a very long overdue but very essential piece of legislation, and it is very necessary to have measures such as proposed on the concentration of media ownership or limitations on state funding to media. If these processes would have been put in place a decade ago, then it wouldn't have happened that in a European member state such as Hungary, media can run with 90% only state funding.
NGOs and journalistic organisations have previously criticised the measures for not being ambitious enough, warning that some member states would like to water down the parts banning online surveillance and the protection of journalistic sources. But MEPs insist that these should remain strong. The Parliament will now enter negotiations with member states in order to find a common position on the measures before they can enter into force.